Hi, and welcome to the second part of this tutorial. In this part, we'll be configuring base fees. On the configuration page, we click on Add Base Rates. Now, we'll configure the base fees from every example we gave on the first part of the tutorial. If you remember, I have calls with a prefix of 5255, so in destination, I select local landline, country, I select Mexico, which is already selected, prefix, I put 5255, and because my provider charges me 30 cents every time I make a call and doesn't charge me by minute, I leave cost per minute in zeros, and I input 0.3 on call connection fee. And I save the rate. Now, my second base fee will be for local cell phones. So I select local mobile, Mexico, prefix 52155, and because my provider charges me 30 cents every 45 seconds, in cost per minute I input 0.3. Billing interval will be 45 seconds. That's it. It is recommended to begin configuring your base fees for local calls and local cell phone calls before configuring base fees for international calls. As you can see, we haven't configured base fees for international calls, but we'll get there in a moment. First, we'll come to terms with data importing. We'll head back to the configuration page, then we click on Start Test Run. This takes us to another page where it allows us to choose a date from which it'll import your call data from your PBX. The default is 6 months back. We'll use the default option. When it has finished importing all data, you click on Go to Results, and it takes us to a page where it shows us how many calls were processed, how many weren't, and the percentage of calls processed from the total. A call isn't processed if there's no base fee with a prefix that matches the call. In our examples, I haven't added a base fee for calls to the US. There isn't a base fee with prefix 001, so all calls to the US have not been processed, nor all other international calls. As you can see here, all calls with the prefix 001 haven't been processed. It is recommended to have the calls not processed percentage below 5%, so that data shown by Mango Analytics is as close to reality as possible. To achieve this, you'll have to add all required base fees. Now, back to configuring the missing base fees. For the base fee for calls to the US, let's say my provider charges me 90 cents per minute for calls to Pasadena and 50 cents to the rest of the US. So we need two base fees, one with a 001614 prefix and 0.9 cost per minute, and another base fee with a 001 prefix. Let me just hit international US. Call prefix 001 and $0.5. Now, for England, my prefix England, let me get England. Oh, now you can. For England, my prefix would be 0044 and cost per minute 0.8. Okay. Now that I have all my base fees configured, I'll import all data again to verify if I have configured all of my required base fees. Let's go to start just run. And as you can see, we have. So we click on run and save. And now all codes have been mirrored. It is important to note that if your provider changes the rates for any destination, you just have to edit the corresponding base fee and you don't have to import data again. Because if you did, all of your calls to that destination would be mirrored by the new rate. Finally, I'll create a default base fee. Default base fees are useful for grouping several prefixes under the same rate. For example, because my provider charges the same for local calls and domestic calls, I delete the base fees for local calls and add a base fee without a prefix and with the rate my provider charges. So we delete local calls and we add base rate without a prefix, and as I said, my provider charges me 30 cents, so I input 0.3, and that's it. If your provider charges you the same rate for local calls, domestic calls, and calls to the US, then you can create a default base fee with that rate. You should know that this fee will be applied to all calls that can't be grouped by another base fee, so it is important to configure all base fees for all those destinations that have different rates. Well, we've come to the end of the tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email or contact us via social networks. Thank you very much.